there, I'm Jen. Welcome to my shop, Sentimental Wood Art. This week I'm going to be showing you how I've created the Tree of Life on my scroll saw. Now for those of you that have visited my Etsy shop, you've seen the finished product. Here's a quick peek. But the video is going to show you all the details that go into making this. Now if you look at it straight on, you just think it's a flat piece of wood. But what you'll find when I'm making it is that I've layered it. See, look at that. And then we've got the back with a hook. And then there's the staining process, and we've got little dowels to hold it up. So I'm going to show you how I do all of that. Let's get started. My Tree of Life art pieces did really well last year during Christmas. I think I sold 5 or 6 of them, which was really neat. I really enjoy these. They're so pretty once they're hung up on the wall. So I thought I'd get cracking early on these and see if I could make some ahead, because it was enough busy, but it'd be nice to be even more busy and not have to work so long. So I'm trying to prep these. It's interesting how this actually works to print it out. You have to print them out on 4 pieces of paper. I have an 11-inch and I have a 9-inch, I think, and each of them has to be on 4 pieces of paper, and you have to line them up and cut them to make sure that they line. And thank goodness there's little lines on here that will help me line it up. But it can be tricky at times. I'm hoping that once I get this cut out, I'm going to glue it on a board, then I'm going to double stick tape the board together so I can do 2 trees at once, or at least the face, because then I put them on a base with some dowels. So this is the process about how I do this. So I've got 2 trees all taped up and lined up, and now I'm going to try and take 1/8 inch boards and double face tape them together. I never know how much tape to stick. It will wobble and pull apart if I do too little, but too much, then I risk breaking my tree when I pull it apart. So hopefully this should be enough tape. And I drew a line so I can cut down the middle, because it won't fit into my little area where I glue things and spray paint things. It's makeshift cardboard boxes, but it works for me. It keeps all of the sticky stuff off of our floor if I aim properly, but I don't always aim properly. I got the blue tape all done. Now it's time for the adhesive. I use some spray adhesive. Hold your breath here so it doesn't get sucked into your lungs. Try to let it dry for a minute, 30 seconds maybe, and then line it up. Did I cut this too close? Is it going to fit? It's amazing how I sometimes, once I glue something, I'm like, oh, that's too close to the edge. Well, it seems like it's going to work. My next step is going to be drilling holes in every single piece of this so I can get my scroll saw blade in to cut it out. Now, if you noticed in my last segment that bits and pieces of my Tree of Life started to peel up. Now, when this happens, what I recommend immediately is to take this off of your scroll saw, get your glue stick out, and glue it back together. Now, I was being stubborn in my video and holding it with my fingers and trying to saw around my fingers, which did not work so well. All right, so I've got all the innards cut out and the outside circle. And now it's time to pull them apart. Hopefully they don't break. There you go. All right. We'll have to see which side looks better. With Baltic birch, sometimes things get a little wonky. But two trees of life. Okay, so the next step in my tree of life is to go through and sand all of these little spots. Every tree limb, branch. Make sure you're following the grain. Baltic birch likes to splinter. And you don't want a bunch of little pricklies sticking up. And then after I get all of this sanded, I'm going to put this on another board. So this is, I believe, an 1/8, and then this is a 1/4. And I'm going to draw a circle around and cut that out, and then sand that as well. And then I'm going to start cutting some dowels to prop it up a little bit. Now, I had a whole carton of dowels around here. That's a sign that I need to clean my shop because I can't find them, which means I'm going to have to cut some more. And then paint those black. This I think I'm going to do with Danish oil. And then the backer I'll find a pretty stain. I've got several. I do a red oak, I do a walnut, all different sorts. So the last time we talked, I was trying to find my little Tupperware full of my little dowels. I don't know that you can actually see this, that I've cut up to prop up my tree of life. Now, I wanted to guide you through a little bit of a trick that I've discovered in cutting these. So I just take a clamp and get the measurement in here for this dowel. So I try to match it with a pre-cut one. That's why it was so important that I had one saved. So once you get that the same size, so about right there, then I take this clamp and then just clamp it down and make sure that I use the clamp as a way to butt it up right against there. So now all of the dowels that I'm going to cut are going to be perfectly even. And I don't have to measure each little one because I usually like 20 to 30 dowels per tree of life, depending on which tree of life that I'm doing. But what you can do is go into the tree of life here and just eyeball it to figure out how many dowels you're going to need to hold it up. The next step in my tree of life is to put the dowels on the back. Try to hide them discreetly so they're not sticking out. Get about 20 on there and then we'll put it onto its backer. And it should be good to go. Thanks so much for watching my video. Consider subscribing below to see some of the other neat things that I've made. In the coming weeks, I'm really getting into Halloween. There's some pretty neat projects that I'm going to be creating, and I'm also doing a clever design on the matrix. So come check it out. Thanks again.